Public service announcement. Stop letting a man convince you that you are difficult to deal with, you're hard to love just because you have standards. If he wasn't ready to do the job, he should have never put in an application. Don't stop letting the man convince you that you crazy, bitter, difficult, insane, or you tripping all the time, or you make a big deal out of every little thing just because you holding him to standards. Because Quiet has kept a lot of the standards that you be holding to do too are things that he presented in the beginning. He just ain't ready to be consistent with. But so many of y'all are going for the okie doke these days, and you end up losing hope in the man because the men that you've entertained have successfully duped you, gaslit you. They have bamboozled you into thinking you're the problem. When the real problem is they were looking at the paycheck, they were looking at the salary, and they had no intentions of even showing up to work. And then for those that think they were ready to show up to work, they were never qualified to get the job done correctly. And so now they mad at you because you're saying, hold on, wait, you ain't gonna keep getting this paycheck if you're not adding value to the company. Yeah, you put in an application. Yeah, your resume look good, but as you've shown up, brother, you've not progressed the company at all. You've not added any value. You've not shown up and done your job. And so, no, you can't keep having the paycheck of my love and affection and sex and attention and support and openness and vulnerability and trust. You can't keep getting this paycheck of my continued presence and my continued grace, which a lot of y'all bring. You don't even understand how much grace you bring to a man's life who had all of this karma coming his way. But because he's in proximity with you, your grace is now overridden all the things he was really supposed to be suffering in this season of his life. That's why a lot of y'all get with a guy and you realize that you upgraded him so much, but really what happened was your grace came in, intercepted all of that karma that was really supposed to be for him, and now he's doing better in life. Now, the bad part of that is when that happens, a lot of times y'all end up intercepting a lot of those demons that he was fighting to lose against. That's what ended up happening. Because even though the karma stopped, you reap what you sow. And that man was still sowing bad seed. He was sowing bad seed in your life, everybody around him, in his children's life, in his own life. He still wasn't doing right. So now all of them demons that he was fighting and everything that he was continuing to be wrapped up in, now it's starting to become your problem in your battle. We ain't gonna get too deep into that though. Before I even really get going, because I can already tell this gonna be a powerful one today. Share this right now if you're on Facebook. Share this right now for somebody else in your timeline who may need to hear this message about no longer going for the okie doke that as a woman, you are wrong, you are difficult, you are tough to deal with, you are disagreeable, or whatever negative energy because you're holding him to a standard. Share this right now for somebody else who might need to hear this message. And put I down in the chat if you've ever been told you were crazy, you were tripping, you were doing too much, you were looking into every little thing. You were always trying to find a problem because you were simply holding that man accountable. Put I down in the chat if that's ever been you. I want to see if I'm talking to anybody, because if I'm not, I don't want to waste nobody's time. But if I'm talking to somebody, let me know if I'm talking to you. If I'm talking to somebody, put I down in the chat if I'm talking to you. Because I was just talking to my homegirl, and man, it got me fired up. Matter of fact, let me give y'all the backstory, because this is what inspired this one today. Yesterday, I showed y'all the comment that the brother left when he had lost a good woman. He was really realizing that he was never going to get another chance. Well, I had a conversation with one of my homegirls recently. Pissed me off. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. It pissed me off. And the reason why it pissed me off is because I'm seeing guys successfully take women that are capable of a full love, and because it's so many guys that you may be entertaining that are really just not on your level, you get to thinking there's no man out here who can truly love you in the way that you're capable of reciprocating. So you might as well acclimate down in terms of your expectations of a man, in terms of your output, just so you don't get hurt. Because yes, it's no fun in order, be with a man that's not meeting all your needs. But what's even worse is when you know y'all are equally yoked, you giving him all of this, that, and the other, and it's not being returned. It's not being deserved. It's not being reciprocated. So I was just talking to her, and I'm like, man, it sucks so bad. Like when people look at me and they see me having these conversations with y'all, and they wonder, Dad, why are you so passionate? Why are you so this, that, and the other? It's because, not because I'm perfect, but because I'm like, yo, it's like the love that you have to give as a good woman. And I say good woman, and I mean that. Like, you've really worked on yourself to be cream of the crop. You've worked on yourself to elevate beyond your lower self. You don't tolerate less from yourself. You hold yourself to a high standard. You hold yourself accountable whenever you're doing something wrong. Y'all don't know how rare you are And not only how rare you are, but what you're able to produce in terms of the love you're able to give, how powerful that is. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of you who are giving this love to the wrong people and then trying to learn how you can best acclimate to them, you're now reducing, you're taking away your power. You're giving it away. And so she's been seeing me talk about this whole selfish season. I've been on the selfish season for the last year and a half. I'm going on trips. I'm going on this. I'm doing my thing. And I told her, hey, sis, I'm never gonna come at you in any way that's gonna shame you or break you down. And there's some people that's gonna get mad at me for saying what I'm about to say. I mean it from a place of love. I'm your big brother. But I said, sis, you're not having a selfish season by simply being alone or simply taking trips with all these guys that want to fly you out here, there, and everywhere, all these different countries. If that's what you really into, cool. But I know you, and I know that truly at heart, you're a lover. You want somebody that you can feel protected by. You want somebody that's going to lead you, but from a place of compassion and humility where they never make you feel like you're below them. You don't really want a guy just blowing the bag on you and taking you to these different countries. I'm going to keep it real with you. So your season of dealing with those guys who you know are not able to truly meet your needs, but they got money and they got dick. Like, let's keep it all the way real. They got that. You're really settling. You're getting what you want, but what you truly want, what your heart truly wants is what it deserves. And you're giving up on that so you can no longer be blindsided by disappointment of guys who cannot meet your needs. That's what's really happening. That's why I'm so passionate when I talk about the selfish season challenge or a real selfish season. You see, it's impossible for me to break down all the parts of a true selfish season. The steps that you take as a woman in order to get your peace back, to get your strength back, your power back. It's hard for me to break that down on social media. That's why I created the modules in the selfish season challenge. That's why I wrote the book, Heartache to Happiness, that comes with the selfish season challenge. And for those of y'all who have not joined yet and you want to get on with that community and you want to get on the live chat, we're going to do exclusively for those in the Selfish Season Challenge. Click that link that you see pinned in the comments or in the caption, whenever you see it. Let me see if we put it here again because I don't see it on Facebook. Click that link and get access to the Selfish Season Challenge because we're going to go live. We're going to go a lot more in depth tonight on this exact topic. But back to what I was saying. I'm telling sis, you're not having no selfish season. You're trying to adjust your heart. You're trying to adjust your heart down to the standards these men ain't meeting. Because the backstory of that is she was dealing with a guy, and this ain't the first guy, but she was dealing with a guy that brought her bad energy, that told her she was doing too much. As she was excelling in life, he felt competitive with her. Crazy, I know. But listen to what I'm saying. When a man brings you all these insecurities, he gonna try to make you play his game of his insecurities. So now as you trying to excel and work, he's going to feel threatened by that. He's going to say stuff to you like, man, you spend too much time doing that. You ain't spending enough time being a woman. That's what her dude was telling her. Told her that she was crazy. She was tripping when he was doing stuff to give her reason to look through his phone. Not that she did. It's a funny thing. She actually didn't even look through his phone. But she's sitting there saying, what's going on in your phone where you always got to turn over? What's going on in your phone where it's always face down? What's going on in your phone where every time you get a call, you got to leave or you immediately ignore it? Or the moment you pick up the phone, you start saying, bro, this, bro, that, so that the person on the other line knows that you're in my vicinity. Is some sketch stuff going on? You crazy, you tripping. Put down in the chat if you've ever had a guy tell you was crazy, you was tripping because you was catching on to his BS. And it turned out that you were right. The very thing that he was telling you were crazy and you were tripping on was exactly what he was doing wrong the entire time. Exactly who he told you not to worry about is exactly who he was dealing with. Put down in the chat. I want to know if I'm speaking to anybody. So at that, I'm sitting here letting her know, look, you do whatever you want. You're a grown woman. Again, I always say this and I always mean this. I'm not your guru. I'm not your expert. I'm your big brother just to give you the truth, and you do with this information what you will. But you've let these guys trick you out of the power of your full love because you've given it to guys who never had the cup that was healed and whole enough to not only receive your love, but reciprocate your love. Because as a giver, as an empath, as a feminine woman, you were made to thrive in overflow. And with that overflow, you were made to give that to somebody who also had overflow to give you as well. But whenever you deal with man after man and you start letting them set the standard for how you're going to show up in a relationship so that you don't get hurt, because that's what she did. Oh, I don't want to get hurt again. I'm tired of, coming into these relationships feeling like I'm doing too much. I'm tired of coming into these relationships asking for things I'm never going to get. I'm tired of getting my hopes and expectations up just to get let down. I'm tired of that. Maybe because I keep dealing with these guys, maybe that's the common denominator and it's telling me that I'm the problem. No, 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 no. The common denominator is you never got back to your full best self after the first person played in your face. That's what number one. That's the common denominator. That's why you need a true selfish season where you don't just take time alone, but you actually do the work to get your peace back. That's the first thing. For every day, every hour that you spent loving the wrong man, he poisoned you with a lesser standard of what to expect. If you're going to truly heal, you have to remedy that which he poisoned, which he damaged. Yes, you're still just as beautiful. Yes, you still have just as much potential. Yes, you're still just as intelligent. But if you ever noticed that the moment that you got mishandled by a man, your mind immediately went to never again. And whether you stayed with that man and your heart hardened, or you left that man and you no longer could be open to another man, you cannot deny that you were affected by that man who mishandled you. Am I speaking to anybody? Am I telling the truth or am I speaking nonsense? Y'all tell me if I'm speaking facts or if I'm lying. I'm open. This is a conversation. Jennifer says so true. Okay, yes, this is live. Journey for Vitality says yes. Okay, I know I'm talking to somebody then. Whenever you love the wrong man, that's why I always say the love that you receive will shape you. That's why you gotta be very mindful. All men are created equal. Not all men move equally. So whenever a man is talking about love, yes, he may love you, but he's going to love you through his vessel. Just like water, it's only as healthy to consume as the vessel that it flows through. If that vessel is contaminated with all type of addictions, ego, pride, lies, immaturity, a need for a mommy, brokenness, if that's the vessel that he's loving you through, by the time that love gets to you, it's going to be poison. And so some of y'all have been receiving love from a poisonous vessel. And now that it's gotten to you, it started to contaminate you and contaminate the way that you see people and contaminate the way that you see yourself. And now you go out here and you're saying to yourself, I never want to be made to feel like I'm difficult to love or hard to love by having standards. So let me lower the standards. Let me go and start saying, this is how she was talking. I just figured, maybe a man gonna be a man, so da-da-da-da. I said, sis, I'm gonna tell you, as somebody who has been a lesser version of myself, who has done some nonsense, no, we could all be better. This is the reason why I go so hard for brothers, but it sounds like I'm going against them because I'm going against the lesser versions that we've a lot of times settled for. We tell y'all to choose better, but it's not enough of us saying, let's give them better to choose from. That makes sense to anybody? Tell me if it makes sense to anybody. We tell y'all choose better. Stop choosing a deadbeat. Stop choosing a heartbreaker. But we are not putting the same emphasis on giving you guys better options to choose from. Stop choosing the guy that's going to choose somebody that just looks better. But then we're not giving you better options to choose from by being the man that's not just going whatever, way the nice body is or the next new thing is or whatever. Tell me if I'm tripping. J. Lo, you says you're hardened, but here's the beautiful thing. The same way that you got changed by the man who loved you incorrectly, if you have an effective selfish season by loving yourself correctly, you can reset that thing. It's just like on a computer or a phone. Whenever you do a hard reset, you're saying, I'm clearing out all the other nonsense because now there's a new thing. I'm trying to deposit pictures, media, whatever you're going to deposit onto the storage now. And I want it to be this. You're setting the intention. You can do a hard reset. That man loved you incorrectly. He told you that your standards were too high. He told you that you wanted too much. He told you that your standards were unrealistic. You got unrealistic expectations. That's almost funny and hilarious how ridiculous that is. We expect y'all. They done got me going. We will hold on to some pain from rejection in 5th grade and therefore relegate ourselves to being a lifelong whore as men, but then expect y'all to heal like Wolverine from the constant repetitive trauma that we put y'all through. They're going to be mad at me for saying this one. They going to hate me for saying this one. Share, man, look, if you're on Facebook, share this right now because I'm about to go even deeper on that particular thing. We expect y'all to heal from trauma we expect y'all to put your bodies through a physical trauma of giving birth to our children, to not only carry the child for 8, 9 months, sometimes even longer, but then give birth, then fight postpartum depression, then deal with the insecurities that can naturally come from your body changing so drastically, then fight the insecurity of being additionally vulnerable from a financial standpoint, because of course you cannot do as much as you need to be able to do. And for some of y'all, that means that you got to go right back to work within a few weeks after having that baby, because your man has not put himself financially in position to make sure that you're comfortable for at least a year, really for the rest of your life. But that's a whole different story, because they're really gonna get mad if I start talking that talk. But let's keep going with it. Do all of that, then have compassion and grace that his attention is now starting to wander to different places because you're not as soft and feminine and sexual as you used to be, taking for granted that you're a mom. You got a whole life depending on you, and he can't breastfeed. He ain't getting up at 3 a.m. every 2 hours when that newborn needs some food. He ain't doing that, but we expect you guys to handle all of that. And then as you raise this new life, continue raising his immature ass. Like, excuse my language. Like, we tell y'all you got unrealistic expectations, and then we hold you to that expectation on top of all of the trauma from the previous aspect of the relationship was possibly ongoing now. The trust issues that you're continuing to develop because you're dealing with somebody who is moving untrustworthily. The way that he's moving with his phone, the way that he's staying up, the way that he's not checking in with you like he used to, the way he's looking for a problem, and your intuition is telling you, hold on, you keep looking for something I'm doing wrong. No matter how hard I go for you, you must be trying to make yourself feel better about something that you're doing in secret that I don't currently know about. And now the expectation is that on the mental, emotional, and physical level, you should be able to handle all of that and still greet him with a smile on your face, openness, welcome heart, welcome vagina to whatever nonsense he might be bringing, not just on the physical level in terms of the health part, STDs, but on the spiritual level. And you are supposed to keep doing everything that you always doing, ignore your intuition, ignore that something ain't right. Because if you don't, that means that you are difficult to love, and you are tripping, and you are wanting too much, and you just holding him to a standard that's too high, and it's unrealistic man. Come on, man. Can I keep it real? Dudes will get mad at you for things that they can't do that you never asked them to do to begin with. Dudes will get mad at you for standards they can't meet that you never held a gun to their head and said, you got to come meet these. A dude will stop you from what you're doing. Think about whenever he first, whether stopped you and DM'd you or told your homegirl that he wanted to talk to you, stopped you in the gym, stopped you at work, wherever y'all met. You were minding your business. And then as you guys got to talking, he just had the best presentation all the time in the world for you, all the capacity. He was joking. He was affirming you in words of affirmation. He had quality time, gifts, whatever it was that would just make an impression on you. And then he got mad at you because you continue to expect that which he could not be consistent in delivering. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping. And here's the thing, when you, because I'm already seeing y'all saying I'm not, here's the thing, when you deal with guys that take that exact same trajectory over and over and over again, it has an effect on you because we are all shaped by the love that we receive, externally and internally. But again, here's the beautiful part of all of this. You receive that wrong love from the wrong man, you can hard stop that, reset, just like I talked about, love yourself correctly for a selfish season, and no, it doesn't take 6 months or a year. Stop listening to people that tell you it takes all these years and years and years to heal. No, it may take you years to just not feel that old pain again, but that don't mean that you've healed. You just let the dust settle. When you truly take the correct steps to heal, even from a deep trauma, you can do so in a few weeks. It's been proven by science. Now, this is why I'm all about a selfish season where you get really intentional about getting back to you. Some of y'all have been so for other people, being the woman that's there for everybody else, being the woman that everybody else can call. You've never been the person you can call. You've never been the person that says, you texted me, calling me at a time. This is designated for me and my day. No. You may judge me. You may get mad at me. You may try to bring up something you did for me back in 1999. I don't care. No. You asking me to go somewhere and do so. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I did it before. I'm not with it no more. Some of y'all need a selfish season, not because you've just completely lost yourself, but because you've already evolved from a former version of yourself. And now what it takes to really meet your needs is completely different. What it takes to love you properly is different. But you have not taken that time to assess that because you continuing to be there for everybody else. I get it whenever it comes to your babies. I get it when it comes to them because they didn't ask to be here. Absolutely. But even with that, there's some boundaries there. We're going to talk about that later on whenever we have the conversation with the Self-Crown Inner Circle. Those who get the Selfish Season Challenge, look out for your email because we're going in tonight. Even for those of you who have children. But let's go back to your friends, your family, your relationship partners. You should have an ongoing audit of what it takes to love you correctly. And then you should be able to communicate that to those around you as a standard for what it takes to have access to you. It's never too late to raise the price on what it requires in order to have access to you, ever. I don't care what they was getting away with before. I don't care that before he could just come home whatever time he wanted. The rules have changed now. We are under new management. That's what the Selfish Season Challenge does. And again, I keep saying this, you don't have to get my modules and my content through the Selfish Season Challenge. Do it on your own if you want to. It's up to you. But under new management, we have new boundaries now. We have a new confidence now. We got new peace that we protecting now. We got new goals that we going to now. Yeah, I had goals on this level of just being married, but now I want to be in a healthy marriage. I want a legacy. I don't want to just make 6 figures a year. I want 6 figures a month. Yep, that's what I said. I don't care what the average salary is. I want multiple businesses, 7 streams of income. I want children who speak multiple languages, who are emotionally intelligent, who believe in themselves, who delve into their creativity, whatever that may be, who don't need to heal from all the things I had to heal from in my childhood. I have higher standards now. And some of y'all are afraid to assert those things because you're dealing with somebody you know that's going to run off. Some of y'all, what I just said to some of y'all, put I down in the chat if you've had any of those thoughts that I just said. Some of y'all have already decided that that's what you want, but you're afraid to hold the people you're currently attached to that standard because that's a lot. And it may scare them off. You're going to be acting different. You're going to be acting brand new. And I ain't even said a fraction because y'all as women, y'all, if you're a visionary woman, you go so much higher than even what I'm able. Like me and my testosterone and my masculinity, I'm an executioner. As a woman in your femininity, your intuition, you're a visionary. A man in his true masculine and a woman in her true feminine come together, you can make magic. But you won't if you let somebody steal your magic because they convince you that you're hard to love by having standards. So you're afraid to even assert the standards now because this man is acting like you asking for too much by simply requiring him to meet the bare minimum. He acting like the bare minimum is a gold standard. He do the smallest thing. And he act like he deserves a pat on the back. And look, I'm all for affirming the man if he's bringing consistent value to your life, absolutely. But for the men who act like not only do they deserve a pat on the back, a cookie, a golden star for doing the bare minimum, but they act like you're wrong if you ask for anything other than that. You're around the wrong man. You're around the wrong man. I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you. You're around the wrong man. And so it's important for you as a woman to center around yourself first and foremost. A lot of people only go, you ain't supposed to be selfish. Again, if the people around you are really aligned for your best self, you centering around yourself is not going to be a bad thing. I'm going to tell you the benefits that an evolved man sees in a woman who has herself at the center, not over God. Okay, I'm not saying that, but at the center in terms of her relational investments. This is what an evolved man sees. He sees a woman that's not codependent on him to create her happiness. That's what we see. The women who do the Selfish Season Challenge, this is how they come out on the other side. They can cultivate their own happiness, their own peace by themselves. Get up every day and people think they high, think they done had some good sex the night before. And most times that ain't even the case. Sometimes it is, but most times what's really happening is not the high part ever. But they have that morning routine that I teach in the Selfish Season Challenge. that puts them on a high just to start their day. No drugs, no sex needed. Now, if they get that, whatever, the sex part, not the drugs. But an evolved man looks at a woman who's at the center of her universe, under God, of course, and really God's mission for your life. I know some of y'all don't believe in the Bible, I do, but God's plan for your life is to have life and have it more abundantly. Okay, so don't think for a second that you're wrong by saying, I want overflow, I want exceptional, I want above and beyond, I don't want bare minimum. That's actually God's plan for you. So those of y'all begging to do for the bare minimum, you're going against God's plan. Get mad at me all you want to. I'm just the messenger. First thing an evolved man sees for a woman that has herself as the priority is this woman is not codependent. She's not a walking emotional liability. She comes in with something to add because she's not coming in as a deficit, as a minus sign that I got to come in and fix. That's the first thing an evolved man sees. The second thing that evolved man sees when he sees a woman that has had her selfish season and regularly has her selfish season is a woman that has the overflow for him. Because even as we create our own happiness, we create our own peace and stability. You know what? Sometimes we're down. If a man is truly in his masculine, he gets up every single day trying to conquer lesser versions of himself, trying to go out and assert his will on the world. Guess what? That comes with battle scars. Just like in the true sense, like a literal sense of going out to war and you get all of these wounds, that's the exact same thing. And guess what? Those men have to go back to the hospital. They have to recharge and all these. Guess what? The relationship with a truly feminine woman that's healthy, that's healed, that's whole, that's our hospital in a sense. We come back to that and we get recharged. When a man sees that you have yourself as the priority, he's like, oh yeah, I got somebody. She's going to have enough charge to give me on my down moments. You see these men who don't have a good woman at home. They don't have healthy coping mechanisms. What do? We go to alcoholism. We go to promiscuity. We go to all of these things to try and cope. And what we're trying to do is supplement or replace the value of a woman, a healed, whole, feminine woman. We're trying to replace that. And not just the healed, whole, feminine woman, but a woman that has herself as the priority, who is selfish enough to have enough to give him without her being depleted. And so what an evolved man sees whenever he sees you and you are selfish in the right way, in a constructive way, you know how to take care of you. You're constantly aware of what you need and you have the confidence to set those boundaries or communicate those needs so he can know how to meet them without shooting in the dark. A man says, evolved man says, oh, I got somebody who will have something to give me. And guess what? When it comes to me meeting her needs and doing whatever she needs, I ain't got to guess. I ain't got to shoot in the dark. Why is that valuable to an evolved man who's equally yoked with you? Because we don't have your intuition. No matter how evolved we get, we don't have the same intuition to know just by your body language, just by something spiritually within us that something's wrong. We don't have that. Y'all have that. That's why you're so good at meeting everybody else's needs, but you'll forget your own without them saying anything. But an evolved man needs you to communicate clearly. This has been an age-old concept. Men, we're not mind readers. You know where that come from? From men that desire a woman that's going to clearly lay it out. This is what I need. This is what I expect. Now you got the little bitty boys in a man's body that's going to get mad at you for that and convince you that you're difficult and that you're bitter because you're saying, hey, I need X, Y, and Z. An evolved man says, that's exactly who I need. I ain't got to shoot in the dark. Whenever I do love on her, she going to be able to reciprocate and receive that because I'm doing it right according to what she needs. I ain't got to go off no general nothing. My woman is telling me straight up what she needs. And she only can do that if she has the confidence to let me go if I'm not qualified or I don't have the intention to meet those needs. Another thing that signals to an evolved man is that you've already warded off all the guys who couldn't hang. You're not available to guys who want to give you the bare minimum, which makes it safer for him, a man who is putting the work to become the best version of himself. Because now you're not low-hanging fruit. Y'all think this is something? Wait till we have our conversation tonight with the Self-Crown Inner Circle. Those who got the Selfish Season Challenge, wait till tonight. This ain't nothing. I'm actually about to get off and we're going to go in tonight. But what an evolved man is in need of is a woman that's not low-hanging fruit. What is low-hanging fruit in an evolved man's eyes? Some people will get offended by this. But the woman who has now settled for the bare minimum from a man because expecting more always led to her disappointment. And now she thinks, well, I can't ask no more from a man. So an evolved man is going to come into that situation, and he probably already has the experiences to back this up. He's going to come into the situation, love you, give you all the fruits of all the work that he's done on himself to be the best version of himself. One, you're not going to be able to receive it. Two, you're not going to be able to appreciate it. You're not really going to believe in it. And 3 and 4, you're still going to be accessible to those guys who ain't doing nearly as much. Every evolved man I know has been torn down and hurt by a woman that they saw the best in. They're going to give her this, that, and the other. But because she got so used to guys who gave her the bare minimum, she was still accessible to that because her brain was still attached to the familiar. She never had a selfish season to reset her familiar based on the love she gave herself that would then set the tone for everybody else. So she was still going off the programming that was imposed on her by the men that she had settled for, which made her accessible to those guys. And now this evolved man coming in a situation, he trying to get, businesses going with her. He trying to propose and make a family with her. He's trying to safeguard her and let her know you safe here, baby. You're not in war like you was in your past relationships. But then she goes out and her brain is so addicted to the familiar of all that lesser stuff, she's still accessible to those guys. Old Rodney and Jaheim and, whatever, Pookie, they spin the block with the same nonsense and manipulative gaslighting games, or they come in to leverage those wounds and guilt trip her and all of those things to get her to try to prove herself to them again, and it works. Now they on her mind all over again. That's what an evolved man sees in a woman that does not prioritize herself. I don't have enough time to go in all the detail on exactly how this comes together. But for those who are getting what I'm saying, let me know. Am I making sense to anybody? Am I making sense to anybody? Why it's so important that as a woman, you do prioritize yourself. You do prioritize yourself. And so if you want to have a season of selfishness on your own, cool. If you just feel like you know what you're doing, I've noticed that so many women don't. They think a season of true selfishness is them, closing off to everybody or just being isolated and being celibate for a while. Cool. If that's what you want to do, fine. If you want to take 6 months, a year, 2 years to prove something to yourself that you can go without any love, fine. But if you don't do the work, actually take the right steps to reset the quality of love that you are now prepared to receive, the quality of love that you are attracting to yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice. And it don't take 6 months to a year. If you want to take that time to continue working on yourself, cool. A true selfish season, especially the way that I've taught women how to do it and I've led women through based on from the perspective of a man, I know what impact we can have when we are less of self because I've been there. I ain't on no pedestal. I ain't trying to pretend to be perfect. I'm your big brother. I'm telling you the truth. I ain't got nothing to win, lose, or gain from telling you no BS. Do with this information what you will. But whenever you settle for love from a man who's not ready to love you, you become unloving to yourself and you start attracting more of that. A lot of y'all don't know why you can consistently in the same pattern of men and you starting to think it must be all men. No, you're continuing to put out the exact same energy because you never had your selfish season the way you were supposed to have it. And so for those of you, again, that want to attract better, you want to be more appealing to the man who can and wants to love you, you need to have a selfish season. Me and my inner circle are doing a selfish season challenge right now. It's just started. So if you want to get access to that, where I'm going to go live strictly for my inner circle, by the way, tonight, if you want to get live to that, we're going to go in for at least an hour tonight. And then I'm going to answer questions directly because everybody's situation is different. If you want access to me, as well as my new book, From Heartache to Happiness, that's only available to my inner circle, click the link you see pinned right here. I'm letting y'all know because last time I did the selfish season challenge, all of these women had all these great results. A lot of y'all were saying, oh, I missed it, D. What happened? When are you doing another one? Look, now's your opportunity. Selfish season challenge is happening right now at the link that you see pinned. Also in the caption whenever you back out. But back to what I was saying. My homegirl's the one that inspired this, and so shout out to her. I'm not going to tell too many details. But she represents a lot of y'all. You got all this love to give. You're depositing into the world and you're seeing fruits of that, but there's something missing in your life, especially when it comes to the relational aspect. And either you got somebody who's in your vicinity, but they can only meet 1 or 2 needs. They're only good for 1 or 2 things, maybe money, maybe sex, maybe, by the way, because some guys ain't even handling their business in that regard. But now you're starting to have these low tier relational experiences, or you're just relegated to isolation. I'm just going to be alone. I just don't want to date. Let me keep it real with y'all who say you don't want to date. You don't want to be disappointed. You want to date. I'm going to tell you how I know you want to date, because you still like flowers. You still believe in chivalry. You still like having the door open for you, a chair pulled out for you, reminded of how beautiful you are, undivided attention in the middle of a conversation, mental stimulation in that conversation to have you looking at things differently through a different perspective. You still like to sit across from a man that is inspiring and admirable and honorable just by the way that he leads his life today. You still like that. You still enjoy that. I know, because that's what you want in a relationship, and that's what you deserve, to continue going on those types of dates, to continue having somebody that pursues you even after they have you. You're not tired of dating. You're tired of being disappointed. Can I keep it real? Am I talking to anybody? Is anybody real enough to let me know that I'm speaking facts right now? Because at this point, I don't even got to ask. I just need to know who I'm speaking to. Anybody real enough to know, to let me know I'm speaking facts right now whenever I say that? You're not tired of dating. You tired of guys who are presenting one thing that they don't live up to it after you give them continued access. That's what you're tired of. You tired of guys who want one thing and try to pretend they want the real thing, just for you to have to see through it. And now you done got all cute, put yourself together, gave him 2-3 hours of your time just to have to block him and never talk to him again. That's what you're tired of. You tired of getting past level 1, getting to level 2 or 3 of getting to know a guy. Now your expectations are up, your feelings are starting to get involved. Maybe you even having sex with him just to have to close your heart off to him all over again, which hurts, which is distracting to everything that you're trying to do. You tired of that. Keep it real with yourself. A part of the selfish season is getting in tune with what you actually desire, not what your expectations try to protect you from. Your lowered expectations try to protect you from. Okay, so I know I'm speaking to somebody. I know what I'm talking about. I've helped lead thousands of women on the other side of all of that acclimation to low-tier dating experiences. I know what I'm talking about, y'all. I'm not boasting or bragging. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just describing exactly what you know to be true. Like, if I'm not valid for you, turn this off. I ain't got nothing to offer you. If I'm speaking facts, then you know I know what I'm talking about. And that's why I advocate for that season of selfishness, because it reasserts the priority of how your intention, how your love needs to go. You don't love people from you. You love people through you. And when you love people through you, they can't give you anything less than that quality of love. So a man who coming with all this pride, ego, manipulation, gaslighting, narcissism, damage, or mommy issues, wounded masculine, he can't love you. Because now you set the tone and your familiar will reject that. It'll be repulsed by that. Before you even waste your time. On the first, second conference, oh, whoa. This, I already know this ain't gonna work. Click. We ain't got the house phones no more, but click. This ain't gonna work. And that's if these men even can get past the part where they asking for your number. You'll have set the tone so strongly, your intuition won't need a few conversations or a few dates to be able to see through this type of guy. First, second conversation, while he just trying to set the tone and get acquainted with you, build a rapport, you already, you ain't that. You ain't that at all. You ain't what I'm about to entertain. You about to waste my time. How to not ever let them think they got you. Morgan Delphin said, the only reason why a guy would think that he got you is because he got a piece of you, and he's looking at the momentum and the lack of boundaries, because that's what happens. If that guy gets a piece of you and you don't have any boundaries, he's already looking at the next 6 months of getting deeper entrenched with you, of continuing to hook you, and that's what he thinks. I got you. I'm good now. So a dude would think he got you and therefore get complacent, which is what I'm assuming that you're talking about. He got you. He good. He gets complacent because he's already looking at, oh, she ain't got no boundaries. But this is the thing in selfish season. This is what I teach, how to have that checks and balances along the way. even with a good man. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. But even with a good man, you need to have ways to say, oh, wait, how are we doing here? Just like any successful company that runs, they have regular weekly, quarterly meetings, yearly meetings to check on their goals, how they're doing, what adjustments are needed in order to keep going forward, in order to keep going up. And if you know, like I know, no relationship is stagnant. You're either growing or deteriorating. So when a guy thinks that he got you, he's really looking at that you don't have any boundaries, you don't have any checks and balances, you don't have any awareness, you don't have the right priority on getting your needs met. So now he can sit back and be in his beta wounded masculine. He ain't got to do too much. You already on your way to settling for the bare minimum from him. Miss Delphin, by the way, this is how I answer questions with my Self-Crown Inner Circle that gets the Selfish Season Challenge. So if you want that, by the way, the link is right there. It's also featured. Don't miss out because we're going in tonight. I'll never post my Self-Crown Inner Circle conversations publicly. The Q&A, I don't do that online. That's only for the Self-Crown Inner Circle. So if you want that and you want to see some of our past conversations, click that link, get access to the Selfish Season Challenge. But back to what I was saying. The second part to that, Miss Delphin, and I hope that you make it and you bring this up again because I really want to, I got to go right now, but I want to go in on this because there's a type of guy who is growth oriented and there's a type of guy who's in his beta and he is comfort and pleasure oriented. You got guys who are so addicted to pleasure, they don't have any intention or investment in their purpose. They don't have anything going towards their purpose in life. And so you have to be able to discern what kind of guy you're even dealing with from the beginning. I'm going to tell you something though, Miss Delphin, Miss Morgan Delphin, when you're dealing with a guy who is truly growth oriented, when you're dealing with a guy who's on purpose, not just pleasure, he's not going to get complacent. In fact, what he's going to do is, and this may hurt a little bit to hear, he's going to see that you are primed for a man who is complacent and say, I got to keep my hands off of her. This is what I was saying I was going to get to in a minute with the checks and balances, even with a good man. It challenges us. It challenges us upwards. It challenges us into progression. We become better versions of ourselves. The more that you push us, the more that you say, I'm not going to accept less than that. Now, you have some women who don't understand how to balance that with the proper affirmation and appreciation that any evolved man does need. If he's doing it right, he needs to hear that. He needs to be shown that. He needs to be, quote unquote, rewarded for that with the access to you. But based on the fact that you would not settle for anything less. If he gave you anything less, you would withdraw. Evolved men want conditional love. With those conditions, we evolve into higher versions of ourselves that we can't do by ourselves. But in the proximity of a real woman that is feminine, that again, believes in us, knows what we're capable of, we're going to go to astronomical heights. Any evolved man who's truly on his purpose knows his purpose is too big for him to accomplish by himself. Man, look, I'm already, tonight, for those who get the Selfish Season Challenge, tonight we're going in. Check your email. After you sign up and you get access, check your email so you don't miss tonight's conversation that's strictly for the inner circle, my inner circle, who we're doing the Selfish Season Challenge right now. Don't miss it this time. If you want your peace back, if you want to attract better experiences, if you want to, matter of fact, you might even start making more money once you set this tone with yourself with the modules in Selfish Season. If that's what you want, click the link. Join me on the Selfish Season Challenge. We're going to continue this conversation tonight. And if you're watching this on social media, look, share this right now for somebody else in your timeline who might need to hear any of this message. If you got anything of value from this, I don't need your money for this right here. This is yours. But what I do want you to do is pay it forward for somebody else in your timeline. You'll be surprised what old friend, co-worker, little sister, cousin needed to hear something in this message. And you're going to be the one that blessed them by hitting that share button so they can get this message. I'll let y'all be good, man. Peace.